What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to another session for the Skill Trades Legacy Lab. I am Keisha L. Blair, and I'm bringing to you guys another session to where we have our skilled trades people here. And I'm going to say people because I know I'm the only woman, but I have some great skilled tradesmen here for you guys. And today we are going to be talking about how to build a successful career in the skilled trades. So I want to thank you guys for joining us today. I'm going to give us all an opportunity to introduce ourselves, and we will go around the room. How about we start with LaShawn?
How y'all doing? My name is LaShawn Sanders. I'm a 20-year-old union electrician out of IBW Local 134. I just graduated 2023, got in my apprenticeship at 19 last year, October, and now I'm just trying to make it happen. I'm trying to spread awareness because I'm not the only one that deserves to be blessed to be able to have a career that could feed me for the rest of my life. Thank you.
I love it. Let's go around the screen. All right, Matt, you got next.
All right. So my name is Matt Clark, former iron worker out of Local 1, iron worker, Chicago, Illinois. Now I am senior management working for a large safety management firm specializing in the data center industry, doing construction safety.
All right, and Ernest.
All right, I am Ernest James. I am a 22-year bricklayer, Local 4, Indiana, Kentucky. Been a long journey, but I'm still hanging in there.
All right, and then introduce myself, Keisha L. Blair. You guys know me as Keisha the Electrician. I've been an IBW electrician, a lot of Local 474 in Memphis, Tennessee for 30 years now. And before we got on, LaShawn was asking us about what years that we were born in. I'm like, sweet, I was born back in the 1900s. So back in the 1900s, back when we started out making only like $6.50 an hour. But yeah, so that's the portion of my story. But we just want to talk about today on how to get started in the skilled trades. Because I know back when I got started back in 1995, a little bit different than getting started now. I think the process may still be the same. I know the pay is completely different. And even the way that they go to school now may be different. Because back then, of course, in 95, we didn't really have the digital technology like we have now. So we had to carry around like the 4 and 5 inch binders to our classes, and we went to school twice a week. But the process was, it wasn't very difficult, but it was enough to where if you weren't serious about your career, then you would make it. So, let's start with, how about, let me see, Matt, you are an iron worker. So let's talk about the Iron Workers Union and how did you get started as an iron worker, and what was the process for you?
Very good question. So, I got started iron working through my family, and we were renting a long time ago in the 90s. We were renting a townhome from a guy named Rob Boscovich. At the time I had zero idea what it was he did. Okay, he would just come pick up the rent every month. Really super nice guy, and he would come and. I met him when I was 9, and then when I was 18, he actually said, "Hey, would you like a summer job? I know you're about to go. I was about to go to Iowa State." He's like, "Hey, would you like a summer job?" And I go, "Yeah, sure." Right? He said, "Show up on, I don't know, State and Lake." He told me where to go, and I had no idea what it was. I said, "Well, what am I doing?" And he said, "Oh, you're gonna carry rebar for about 10 hours a day. Just tell him Bosco sent you." That's how I got started in iron working. I was 18 years old, right? And I worked every summer, right, that I was at Iowa State. And then eventually I went into the apprenticeship full time, which is a 3-year, 6,000-hour apprenticeship. What's really unique about it is you actually go to work during the day. They put you with a contractor. You go. I work with McHugh. So McHugh is a large general contractor there in the Chicago area. They put me on Trump Tower there, and you would work during the day and you would go to school in the evening. So for 3 years, you would go to work and go to school. And they had the same hours. It was, you would go to school 3 nights a week. You were off in the summer, but then you would go back in the fall. Mm-hmm. And so it's, learn and get paid at the same time. So, it was a grind, but I learned a ton, came across a lot of great mentors through the union. And that's how I got started.
So you had that earn while you learn. You know, that's kind of something that's universal, I believe, throughout most of the unions. Is that we go to school, but we also go to work at the same time. So we're not just having that debt. And when you started, was there any debt that you had? Did you have to How much did you have to start?
I came in with $100,000 in debt because I went to Iowa State. And I got a degree in industrial technology, specializing in occupational safety and health. Now, obviously, today I'm a high-level safety professional, right, in the data center space. But I came in with $100,000 in debt. I did all 5 years.
Oh no! I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I meant to ask, like, how much did you have to pay to get into the Ironworkers Union? I'm like, you had to pay $100,000.
$100. Oh no! I got a degree, and then I got a degree, and then I went to the apprenticeship.
Okay.
But for the apprenticeship, I paid $100, and that was for the test. It was the application fee.
Mm.
He said that's how he paid off his debt.
That's how I paid off
his debt. Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, great question. No, great question. It was a very minimal upfront cost, and the benefits were tremendous.
And so what year did you start your apprenticeship program?
I started in the fall of 2005.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
That's about 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm. But I've been ironworking since 2000.
Okay. So what were you doing in 2000 that was different from when you started in 2005?
Going to school for it full time.
Mm. So did they have you just being like you were just unindentured, or what did they call it?
You were just they would call it a permit worker. So they have a need, and everybody's working. They don't have anyone, and I'm a sponsor.
I got it. So that's kind of like a good way to kind of try it out before you just to say, okay, well, I'm going to just go ahead and start. So you would have realized that at that moment. So how do you remember how much you were making at that time from when you started as an apprentice?
Back in the day, it's a little different now, but back in the day, apprentices started out at $23 an hour. And I think the scale at the time in 2005 was $39 an hour.
This is in Chicago?
Chicago, Illinois, circa 2005.
Wow, that's interesting. When I think about 20, like I say, I always laugh and I joke, but back in 94, 95, we started out making $6.50 an hour. So to hear $23 an hour just 10 years later, that's just amazing just to think about just the increase, and I'm going to hop around to LaShawn here next, because LaShawn, since I always talk about making $6.50, I want you to tell us what a first year apprentice makes now coming through IBEW compared to what I made 30 years ago.
Yeah. So right now I'm making $26 an hour at 20 years old.
At 20 years old. Wait. $26 an hour at 20 years. Wait a minute, my son's 25. I need to know I'm just playing. But $26 an hour for 20-year-old, that is a lot. So, and I know you talk about this when you speak to other kids about, or other people, I want to say kids, other people about getting into the skilled trades, about how much they could possibly make as opposed to other jobs that they're working. So, what was like the turning point for you? What made you say, all right, this is what I'm going to do because I know this is what I need to secure my career and my future?
So I always had an entrepreneurial mind. So I always knew that I wanted to create my own business. I wanted to start my own business. So I shared that with my fellow classmates in high school, right? But I would see how they would go about it. How can you say you want to create a clothing brand, but you just want to create a clothing brand out of high school and you don't have that solid foundation, right? Or if somebody would talk about wanting to do real estate or something like that. But my whole thought process, well, okay, it sounds good, but how are you going to get the capital to be able to pay for that real estate, right? So while they more so focused on that outstanding vision, I was more so focused on the foundation to be able to get to that vision, to be able to create that, because they kind of treated it as a dream versus me. It was going to actually be something. It was actually going to be something that I wanted to do. So I understood the importance of having a solid foundation. So throughout high school, I decided to use high school as a vehicle. Why? Because this would be the last time in my life where I have no responsibility at all, right? So around 16, 17 years old, I got exposed to my school, TF North High School, started an electrician program. And by then I was like, okay, I'm going to go to college, right? But I'm a firm believer in having that foundation, and that foundation being a backup plan. because sometimes your backup plan turns into your main plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my backup plan was I'm going to do this program for 2 years while I'm still in high school. Why? Because it's not going to hurt me. What am I? I'm sacrificing culinary. Like, who cares, right? So I did that program in 2 years. I did that program for 2 years in high school. And by then I decided I didn't want to go to college, right? So your backup plan becomes your main plan. So by the grace of God, I was able to have that foresight to be able to have that foundation of having that option B, right? So after I decided that I wanted to like become an entrepreneur and do things like that, I understand that I had to do it differently than the people around me, right? So I decided to use my job as my vehicle. Jamal King also talks about this a lot, how he used his job as his vehicle. So I used my electrician job as my vehicle to fund my motivational speaking, to be able to fund the real estate, to be able to fund every single thing that it is I want to do. You need that solid foundation to be able to do so.
So where did you get this mindset from at you said at like 16. So what made you want to become an entrepreneur at 16, even think about having that? Because most 16-year-olds and they're not thinking about that.
Okay. So I used to live in Minnesota. I lived in Minnesota for 1 year. I lived there with my sister, and there I saw a completely different socioeconomical culture, right? So I saw them kids they were pulling up in Rolls Royces at 16, 15 years old, right? And I was like, okay, what are they doing differently that we're not? So when I came back to Chicago post COVID, and I saw that our culture was more so geared towards materialistic things, like why like it just didn't make sense to me. So I understood that I had to up my level of exposure, because your level of exposure will always dictate your level of success. So I knew that I wanted something different, something in my spirit it wasn't complacent anymore. It was just wanting something different. You had to actually go out to achieve it. So that's why I started listening to podcasts. I started listening to the Secret to Success podcast. I started listening to Jamal King. I started listening to people who were in a position that I wanted to be in. So that was how I had an adequate level of exposure.
Yeah, shout out to Jamal King, the 9 to 5 millionaire. 100. I got his book around here somewhere. And I had to keep it inside my car so I can get him to sign it next time I see him. But yes, definitely from Chicago. He talks about how he was a police officer and started all of his businesses and eventually built the empire that he has now. So he's definitely someone to make a role model. So appreciate you sharing that with us. Now we're gonna go over to Ernest. Bricklayer, Local 4, out of Chicago. Yeah. Again, I got all these folks from Chicago. I love it.
Yeah, so I started. I actually got into Bricklayers twice. When I lived in Chicago, I got in back in 90. I'm 90 something. I don't even remember what it was. But I did a little bit of an apprenticeship there, or should I say, I did the hands-on, because we have a hands-on period. And then, right before our actual apprenticeship starts. So I did the hands-on. And then I don't know what was going on at that time. I think the work was there, but I just didn't have the support that I needed. Right. And so I got out and I started doing my other job, which is a machine operator, which is I've always done. And I did that for a couple of years, and I got married. I moved to Indiana, and my wife at the time went to a job career fair. And Bricklayers was there, and she got an application and was like, do you want to try it again? Because she knew I always shared, with everybody that's what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be a bricklayer at a young age. And I was like, that's what I want to do. And so she brought me the application and just like, you want to try it again? And I tried it again. And 22 something years later, I'm still here. Our process, actually, our Local 4, Indiana, Kentucky, out of Maryville, Indiana. We actually take applications year round. I think there's I don't know exactly what the fee is, just sort of administrative fee just to sign up or whatever. I don't think it's much. But once you get in, we actually do go to school 1 day a week. So if you're a first year, you're usually on a Monday. And then the rest of the week, you're actually on the job site working. And if there's some extra classes, because you do have the opportunity to earn an associate's degree. So if you do sign up to do that, then there are a couple college classes that you may take at night, which is what I did. So I did get the associate's degree. And also we get different certifications. So you can also get your welder's certification too. But yeah, so that's how I started. Got in. I think when I got in, we was at half scale. We started half scale. I think I started at like $15 an hour or something like that. Back when I started 22 years ago. The current scale now in Indiana, I think, is $46 and some change. For the bricklayers, right across the pond in Chicago, I think they are almost at 50, if not at 50. So Chicago get a little bit more, even though they right across the street. But but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Wow. So I know, and you mentioned you starting out at $24 an hour. I'm feeling some type of way, over here in Memphis, 50 cents. But I know it's a lot higher than that now. I think they're in their 20s as well here. And we used to go to school on, I believe it was Monday and Wednesdays, and there was a couple of years, maybe upper they went on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So, but at any rate, it was only 2 days a week, and we pretty much went all year round, kind of like the school year from like August to May. So
That's interesting.
yeah, it is, because you said you guys go to school how often?
So we go to school. So how it worked for me is once I took the test and I got in, I had to. So we go by cycles, right? So like a quarter, right? So every 3 months you start school. So I got in the October cycle. So from October until December, I was in school. But our school isn't like, oh, you go to work and then you learn as you go. No, we go 3 months straight. So I had 11 weeks unpaid straight of school,
Wow.
7 to 3:30 every single day, Monday through Friday. But it's nice though because now you got 9 months on the job training. So in October, I'm going to second year school. So once I go to second year school, it's paid. So I'll be making eight 900 a week going to school learning. So once you
So
get
your whole first year, they don't pay you the whole first year, or for those 3 months?
no, just for school they don't pay you. But once you get on
Okay.
the job site, you start off making like $23 an hour.
So do you have to go to school first for those 3 months before they put you on the job site?
Yes. So you go
Okay.
to school first, and I really do prefer it because you come out knowing something versus like we
Yeah,
playing
being there
first day
very.
on the job site. Like they teach us how to bend pipe. I don't know how it is. I know in Indiana and a lot of other places they use Romex, but Cook County is really conduit heavy, and conduit is really it's as you know, Keisha, it's an art.
Oh
It is an
yeah.
art.
Yeah.
So we're really prominent with conduit. So they really want to write home, how to bend conduit. We have circuits class. We have construction class, just so you know what all the material is. You have print reading class, so you're really familiar with the code. And I really do feel as though that gives you that solid foundation to be able to hit the ground running once you actually get on the job. So I mean, you're still not gonna know much. You're still gonna get treated like a first year apprentice, right? But also some basic things to be able to get you by until that second, third, fourth year, until you're able to become a more complete electrician.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's good, because I went first year, first day, didn't know what I was doing, didn't even know, all I knew was, like, I was told to just show up, and then they told me I had to stay there for 12 hours. And I'm like, what? 12 hours? So 712 was my first job that I was on. It was 7 days a week, 12 hours a day.
Woo.
And I'm like, who in the heck would ever decide to have a career doing this? So, and here I am 30 years later. But what happened was the money was good. I got that first check, and it had, overtime on it. So when I'm making like $6.50, I was making almost $10 an hour. I'm like, we're making some money now, right? So then of course, when you're older, life kicks in. You just, it afforded me the life that, and it afforded me an opportunity to provide the things I needed to provide for my children that other careers just couldn't. So I kept going back year after year. And then it was just like, it just became my way of life, to where I saw it for more than just bending pipe. I saw it as like all of the things that I learned that are just things we do now by second nature. We show up on time. We make sure we look at things it's our craftsmanship. Whenever we do something, we do it to the best of our ability. We're not just going to leave it like that, or just half do it, because we know that not only is our name on it, but everybody else in the skilled trades name is on it too.
Yeah.
So we think about those things as we go forward. And before I got into the skilled trades, before I got into IBW, I didn't even think about stuff like that. So it teaches us these things along the way. And you know, there's a reason why it's the apprenticeships are as long as they are, because you can't come out in a year knowing these type of principles. Just like anything else, you have to put in a certain amount of hours. And I believe it's for IBW, it's 8,000 hours, which you have to put in here in order in Memphis, so you can even qualify to go and take your journeyman's exam for the city of Memphis.
And the crazy thing is, we don't even have an exam, so we have it. So you just automatically top out.
Mm-hmm. Well, no. I'm sorry. So you finished school with those 8,000 hours, but however, in order to become licensed in the city, so like you have Cook County right here is Shelby County. So in order to become licensed through Shelby County, then you have to have a certain amount of hours in order to go and take that electrician's at journeyman's exam. I think I sent you a screenshot of my card. I went and renewed mine last week, you know, just to keep my certification up, because I think if you let it lapse for like 2 years, you got to take that test all over again. That's 4 hours, 80 questions. I'm not trying to go back through that. So I pick it up every year. And I believe in order to become a master electrician, the test is 5 hours, and it's 100 questions that you have to pass. Yeah.
But it's a skill that, come on now, no one can take away from you.
That's right.
No one can take it away from you.
Yeah.
Come on now.
And the question, I think I took my exam back in 2000 when I got my license back then. And the first time I took it, I didn't pass. I failed. You had to have a 70. I think it was a 70. I want to say a 75 to pass, and I got like a 73. Whatever it was 2 points off. And I was really discouraged. I didn't even want to go back and take it. You have to wait, I think, like 6 months in order to go back and take it. When I went back the second time to go take it, I had my code book. I didn't even really feel like it. I think I left my calculator. I was like, oh my gosh. So I get there and I went through it because I studied, but I didn't study as much as I did that first time. I think I was probably just overthinking it. So I weighed more on really just what I had already knew, and got the letter in the mail and it said I passed. I was like, oh my gosh, and I thought I just knew I passed the first time, failed it. I knew I failed the second time and I passed it. So it was just more so me just not even worrying about all the information that was in the book. I had to worry about the information that I had already learned just from being on the job site.
Yeah. Hey, LaShawn, you know, you actually said something that actually resonated with me. And, you know, you were talking about how you're using the trades as a vehicle, right? And I don't want to just gloss over that, right? I mean, it's good pay. It's a great learning opportunity, right? But trades aren't a fallback. What they really are is a fast track to financial freedom. And I don't want to gloss over that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I want to chime in on that too, but for two reasons. One of them is definitely it allows you to do a lot of things that you want to do. So as me being a podcaster and a speaker and other things that I got going on, it definitely funds those things until those things become profitable. You know, especially like podcasting, because you start off, you got equipment to buy, you got, you know, lights, cameras, all that stuff, you know, all that stuff costs. And a lot of times when you start podcasting, you're not making money right away, you know, and so you got to be able to fund it to keep it going until it becomes profitable. So it definitely allows you to, you know, pour into your other endeavors. But one of the other things I want to talk about, Keisha, and I actually want to bring this up, so I'm glad that we did, is even in the way that we present the trades, you know, and I'm guilty of it myself, and this was brought to my attention because a lot of times we bring it up as our alternative when we talk about it, and it's like, you know, if you don't go to college, you can go to, you know, the building trades. But I think we need to change that a little bit, because it's not a second option; it's a first option for a lot of people, including myself. And that's what brought it to my mind, because I was thinking about when I was in high school, you know, honor roll student, I was smart. And I remember talking to my counselor, and he said, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to be a bricklayer. You know, I already knew what I wanted to do. And he was like, no, you can own the company. You can go to college and own the company. I said, I don't want to own a company. I want to do the work. Like, I actually want to lay the brick and do it, you know. And so that was my first choice. My first choice wasn't to go to college to, you know, earn a degree or whatever. Like, no, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to be the building trade. And so I think that even sometimes we present it as a second option if you don't go to college. But I think that, we even have to start presenting it better itself. Like, no, it's a career, it's a first choice. You know what I mean? College might be a second choice. You know what I'm saying? But the trades are a no-brainer. It's a first choice.
No, I agree with that.
And I feel as though there's a certain power in it because it can be a lot of things to a lot of different people, right? So for like we got our youth right now. Some youth just don't like school. Just don't like school. Here's a trade, right? Like if you don't want to go to college, some people just don't want to go to college. Some people for debt reasons, for just capacity reasons, they just don't want, like for reasons like I got a buddy, and he does landscaping. He's like, hey, I just want to do landscaping. I don't want to go to school. Like that's just the life that some people want to live, right? But the trade is able to cater to everyone because if you have a college degree, you can become a project manager. You can there's a lot of different avenues. Like I know Matt said he got his degree in safety and he's now a safety, like he's a tradesman, but now he's on the safety side. And then we have things that like on the job, like just a regular journeyman electrician, right? You don't have to go to school for that, but whatever it is that you want to do, the trades will have a place for you. Whatever it is you want to do, the trades will have a place for you, whether you have a college degree or not. So
that's an excellent point.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say this. So it's like, I didn't even really know about the skilled trades because when I was in school, it was called vocational. I think now it's CTE, college technical education or something like that. And it was vocational, and we had different things like foods, wood shop, all these different things. We didn't have electrical. I mean, I had no idea what the skilled trades were. My older brother, he's an electrician. I think it's local 11 in Pasadena. And he told me about IBW and I looked it up in Memphis, but had it not been for that, by word of mouth, I wouldn't have ever even known about it, which is why, all of us, and I know we're all passionate about telling children or telling people about the skill trades and the benefits that we had, because I didn't even know it was an option for me. And I had my eyes set on going to MIT. I wanted to be an electrical engineer. And my parents didn't have MIT money, so I had to go to ITT. That's what I settled for.
That part.
And I went to, I didn't know, I wasn't gonna get there. So I went to ITT and I realized fast that electronics was good, but it really wasn't what I wanted. It was electronic engineering technology. I learned a lot while I was there. And then, I didn't finish because it wasn't really what I wanted. So I know now it's important to do something that you like to do. So that's why I asked you, LaShawn, like what made you want to go towards the electrical portion? Because if you don't really like it, just like you said, these kids are like school, they're not going to finish it. So why send somebody or put them in an environment that they're not happy in because they're not going to complete any program?
Man, and it's like there's so many kids that fall through the cracks because they don't have that level of exposure. There's so many kids who need a different outlet because it just doesn't relate to them. Like I wasn't a school. I mean, I was very smart in school. Like I remember one time I got $50,000 in scholarship. I was actually supposed to go to a college in Texas. I actually denounced, right? My senior year, I denounced. I decided I want to be an electrician, spur of the moment thing, right? So it's just not for everybody. And it doesn't mean that you're lesser. And I feel like it's shifting now, but it used to be that people would talk about, a kid going into the trades, they would treat him as lesser than, or the trades as a lesser option, like you said, that section option, right? But now, like, it's the first option. Look at what AI is doing right now. AI is taking these Google jobs. AI is taking a lot of these jobs, right? A lot of these jobs are not obsolete. They can't take these.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd like to share just a quick stat. The U.S. construction industry currently has a need of 500,000 workers per year, and increasing by 10 to 15% a year. So, on the supply side or the demand side, my apologies.
Yeah.
This is a pathway, and I'm just kind of looking at some notes here. AI can't tie rebar.
Nope.
AI can't bend pipe, right? AI can't lay bricks, okay? The human element, you can't do without it, right? In my mind, and especially it being on the construction safety side of it, right? because now for me, and I know we all have our different experiences in the trades, but for me, now it's about legacy. Now it's about exposing young folks, college grads, to the safety field, right? So when we talk about recruitment, retention, and raising of tomorrow's leaders in the construction space, that's really the area that I'm passionate about, right? So like, I'll give you an example. Over 8 years, I've hired, trained, and managed over 200 safety professionals, okay? Some of those folks are just college grads. Some come from the trades and they don't know how to make that transition. So just being that bridge builder, but you have to have that true in-depth understanding of the trades, especially for the folks who want to transition. So I just wanted to give that quick, more or less that quick stat for the folks who are listening. They need tradesmen and tradeswomen. It's an excellent opportunity and an alternative to going to a 4-year university or a 2-year school.
Yeah, and then you have to think about it like this. So if we think about all of the places that people want to go to, as far as these colleges, as far as these wherever they want to go work, somebody's got to build those buildings. So you can't just say, I want to go do this. That's like you saying you're hungry, you want to go to a fast food. Somebody's got to cook the food. Somebody's got to do this. Somebody has to build the building that the food is being cooked in. So who's going to do that type of work? Well, guess what? And sometimes people make it seem like what we do is less than, when in actuality, you wouldn't have any places without skilled trades people. We are the ones that actually started. The first person on the job, if I'm not mistaken, is the iron workers. Like, y'all got to be there to even set the frame up. And then you need light, the electricians, we have to be there. Then we got to get the bricklayers out there. So we're all very essential when it comes to making sure that these buildings get erected. And then during COVID, if I'm not mistaken, construction was still going on.
Yeah,
essential workers.
We were.
Hey, you said,
during COVID.
Keisha, you said it though, right? So we are essential, right, to the infrastructure across the world. And what's really cool, right? And what's really cool is for the people who want to look into it a little bit more, their construction and the trades, their leadership labs. So leaders on this call have come up through the trades, right? At all stages of life, right? So that's deep to me, especially if it's a leadership lab, it's a leadership path, it's a entrepreneurial path. When you come out of the trades, you learn how to scale $1 million business, especially if it's trade based.
Yeah. And I want to tap in that route too. So let's talk about turning trades into a business. I'm sorry.
I wanted to tap into something that you said about because you mentioned that you didn't know anything about the building trades. And the crazy part about it is in my school, in our district, we had automotive, we had carpentry, we had drafting. I took computer-aided drafting. So we had these different elements. But the crazy part about it is, even though we had like carpentry classes and construction classes, they didn't tell us anything about the unions. So when we got out, it was like, what are you going to do? And so I ended up going to college, taking construction classes because that's the only way I knew. And the crazy part about it, one of my classmates who graduated with me, his dad was a bricklayer. And so when we graduated, he went right into joining the trade and became a bricklayer. And by the time I found out about it and I got in as an apprentice, his baby brother was starting when I was starting. That's how many years of just by not knowing that I started late. And that's why I love what we're doing and the passion that we have now to get the word out. Because had I known about the trades and apprenticeships when I was in high school and when I graduated, I could have went straight in and been like LaShawn, starting off, making some decent money right out of high school. Instead, I ended up taking construction classes in college as a carpenter because there's no bricklayer classes in colleges. They do have carpentry, they do have electrician, but they didn't have no bricklayer classes. So I ended up being a carpenter because I didn't know even where to go to begin to become a bricklayer at that time.
Well, we didn't even have any electrical classes or anything like that. Like I said, took print shop and took foods and different things like that.
Yeah.
But I had no idea that there were actually unions out here or apprenticeship programs that I could have actually have gone to actually further my career in those type of fields. So to even have that, like LaShawn said, that exposure to where it's like, even know that it was an option, that's huge. So that's why, and I said, we're doing the crafted careers that build. We're trying to make sure that we get knowledge about the skilled trades in the school, just like they got like ROTC. Everybody knows what ROTC is. How many people know how many skilled trades there are in their area, or that there are even viable options for them beyond college?
And then
and it's over 30 trades too. So it's only
it's over like 100. It's
Yeah.
over 100 skilled trades that are out there. I mean, I looked them. I don't know all of them, but there are a lot. That's like example. Heavy equipment operator, elevator operator. These are things we don't even think about. Somebody has to take classes and know how to operate a crane, how to work an elevator. And when the elevator breaks down, somebody has to fix it. So these are all skilled trades that people don't even think about.
Yeah. I would say too, to that generational impact and legacy, right? And the last time we spoke, I mean, I went in like I was talking about how there was a time where you had different generations that actually did some form of a trade, right? For me, it was Ford, right? I lived in inner city Chicago, not too far from the Ford plant. The way you looked at those people in the neighborhood that had those kind of jobs, they had a pride about them, right? So there's been a disconnect, especially with the new generations. There aren't many torch carriers still, that promote the trades, right? So I mean, I just think that right now, because we have a labor shortage, which is obvious, right? There's a lot of issues with being able to get to the right audience to tell the stories. We have a leadership gap.
But is it really a labor shortage, or is it really that people don't understand, so they don't want to sign up for a shortage?
That's what.
Yeah, I can speak for my generation as well.
Please do.
The problem happened was it really started around COVID, right? So you would see these TikTokers, you would see these influencers making millions of bucks doing a dance. You telling me I can do a little dance, and make $1 million bucks? So I understand to a certain extent, because times have changed to where people see quick money, a lot quicker money. Like we see a streamer ain't got to work hard, ain't got to wake up early in the morning, and they think, oh, I can do it too. So it becomes oversaturated, and that's where the labor shortage comes, because everybody sees that quick money and they want to chase that quick money, that instant gratification, versus actually trying to create a change and trying to create some generational lasting legacy, right? And then what they don't understand is you can still do your streaming. You can still, if you want to create your clothing brand, if you want to be an entrepreneur, go ahead, have a crack at it, right? But you need that fallback plan. You need that foundation, right? To be able to build that tree of oh, I got a clothing brand. Also, I'm streaming. I'm also doing this. Where are the roots? What are your roots? So that's what I think is most important.
That's like the lottery. I mean, you can play the lottery all day long, but that don't mean you're going to win. But I understand you have to play to win. So there's nothing wrong with you wanting to become famous on TikTok. Continue to do it. That's totally fine, but that's not going to pay your bills unless you actually hit it, unless it actually somebody discovers you, that dance goes by, whatever the case may be. So you can't put all your eggs in one basket like that. So that's good that you said that, because people need to start thinking about what else can I do while I'm waiting on this to, become this viral sensation to where I can get paid for it. And once you hit that lottery for the TikTok, by all means, if you don't want to do something else, then don't do it. But until then, what are you going to do while you're waiting on it?
Exactly. And then that can end at any given second. So I know we talked about, so I'm a first year apprentice. I don't care how big I get. I fully plan on finishing out my apprenticeship. Why? Because it can end at any given second. Any given second.
Because Auntie Keisha told you to finish. That's why I was playing.
So what? What you say, Keisha?
Because Auntie Keisha told you to finish. That's why you're gonna finish.
Yeah, like I'm definitely going through my whole apprenticeship. I'm gonna be a journeyman, and if I blow up from that point, then okay, cool, that's fine, right? But if it all ends, it can leave at any given second. I still hey, I pay my dues.
Come on.
I'm now making $57 an hour, and now I can
Come on.
rebuild what it is I lost each and
Yep.
every single time. I'm 20 years old right now. If it take me 5 years, if I got to do a 4 more years of my apprenticeship, I'm only 24 years old. Now I still got the world in front of me, and I have at the very least for the rest of my life, I'll be making $150K a year.
Minimum.
Well, I tell you, that's funny you say that, LaShawn, because I was just talking smack with my son the other day. I travel a little bit for work, so I come home and he go, man, you sweet with the safety stuff, but whatever happened if you lose your job or something? I look back, I went, hey boy, I said if I lost it all today, I got that belt nice and fresh right by the door. I would go throw that thing on, hop on the wall, and bounce right back. That's the beauty of having, to LaShawn's point, it's having a trade. We got to flip the script. Everybody think, oh, I got to go to college right off. No, you don't. No, you don't. Once you get it, you will always have it.
Yeah.
Get that thing in hand first, right? That's a great point, man. Because I slapped that belt right back on like nothing.
Hey, look, let's just say 4 years. My motivational speaking kicks off. I'm still gonna finish out. There's nothing that will stop me from finishing out that apprenticeship. From waking up at 4:30 in the morning every single day, going to work, finishing my apprenticeship. Why? Because that is an asset at the end of the day, right? Why do you think? And I'm gonna keep speaking on Jamal King. Why do you think even after he became a millionaire, even after he was going home to a $20,000 square foot mansion, that he still was a Chicago police officer? He was using his police officer checks, funding his kids' IRA accounts.
Yeah, you got to fund your business too, because entrepreneurship is not cheap.
He got through the union. I have 3 pensions. Right now. We got a vacation fund. We got incredible insurance. If I want to have eventually wife and kids and things of that nature, right? That insurance plan might come in clutch. Let's just say my kid got something wrong with them, heart defect, things of that nature, $1 million heart surgery. Come on now. That's wiping out everything automatically off rip. So it's not even just you losing everything. It's life. Life happens.
Yeah.
We can't predict what happens, right? But we go through certain things to be able to assure ourselves. So when life deals you that blow, you able to strike back. I'm able to strike back with insurance, incredible insurance. I'm able to strike back with 3 pensions. I'm able to strike back with a plethora of other things. Why? Because I created that solid foundation to be able to deal whatever life throws at me.
Yeah. And I want to say this real quick too, is that one of the things that LaShawn said, which is something my dad used to tell me all the time when we were younger. My dad was a mechanic, and he always say, what you learn to do with your hands and the knowledge that you have, nobody can ever take that away from you. And even as Matt said, when his son was like, what if you lose your job? Well, as long as you got these and they working, you can always rebuild. You know what I'm saying? And plus, once you get your journeymanship, your journeyman card allows you to work anywhere in the United States and the territories, let alone outside of the country. You know what I'm saying? And so one of the things that I learned as being a machine operator, working for I worked for a glass company. I worked for a conveyor company. I worked for Dr. Pepper. The thing is, even though that to be a machine operator, that trade or that knowledge is good, but it's only good in that company. When you go to the next company, you got to learn another machine.
That's true.
But when you learn a skilled trade, it's transferable across the world, not just across the United States, but it's across the world. And even you also have the opportunity to travel. So I've traveled, as a bricklayer to across the United States, doing jobs. And I've had the opportunity to go to Mexico and to go to these other countries to work also as a bricklayer that I chose not to, but I do have that option. So when you talk about, what if you get fired? Who's gonna fire you?
Well, let me say this.
Right.
But look, let me say this: is like when you're in the skilled trades, we actually get fired after every project because we work ourselves out of a job. So think about that. Yes, and it's really not like we're getting fired, but the project has come to an end. So now it's time for us to move on to the next one. Sometimes we'll work for the same company. Sometimes we'll have to go back to the union hall, sign the books, whatever you guys call it, and we go on the next project. So every project comes to completion. We work ourselves out of a job and we move on to the next one. But LaShawn, what you said was how they had you to work without going to, or go to school first without going to work. You know, you may not have had experiences, but I'm sure Ernest and Matt have. Once the project comes to an end, there may not be another place for you to go to right then and there. So you may have to go sign up for unemployment. You may have to go do something different, but that's why you stack that money up while you're in that fruitful season, to where you have those seasons to where now it may be 6 months before I go back to work, before another project comes up. Luckily, right now we're high in demand, so we don't have a lot of tradesmen don't experience that. But there have been times in the past to where we worked ourselves out of a job and we had to wait 4, 5, 6 months before we went back to work. So
I heard 08 was bad. I was 3, but
08, that's the year that came to mind. You was 3. Boy, bye.
Oh no, I was out there. Go ahead.
I want to mention this too, Keisha. We also do side jobs because, like you said, once you know your skill, you can do your skill on your own. So even when the major companies, things may slow down with the economy, you still can do your own thing. Like we build, you will see the brick mailboxes. We do those. You know, we do those. We brick garages, build garages. That's all stuff you can do on your own just by, you know, using your trades that you know, that you're not actually working for the major companies. So even when the major projects slow down, you still can act as your own boss and go out there and still work on your own, because you have the knowledge and the trade to do it.
And then there are some times where like you can take your knowledge, what you have, and you could turn it into your own business, to where you can become a contractor. You can become all these different things. If you get your master's in certain areas, you can actually take that license and work for a company and you know, make money that way as well. So there are so many different things that you can do once you become a tradesman, and take that information that you've learned and use it as a stepping stone and not a plateau. I don't know if you guys saw my episode I had on Alpha Intuition a couple of weeks ago, but I had Senator from Maryland on here, Corey McCray, and he's a senator of Maryland, but he started as an IBEW electrician. So it's like the opportunities are endless. It just depends on what you want to do. And if you have to write the vision and make it plain, once you see yourself there, you just don't stop doing it. You just keep climbing until you get to where you want to be.
Hey, I would say to that as well, like, there's so much flexibility in it. Like, I'll give you an example. I know a guy, he is an electrician, actually. He's an electrician. He works on data centers throughout the country. He travels. He will go work a job, say San Antonio, Texas. He'll go out there, work 6 months, and he'll work OT. I mean, he's doing turnarounds, all sorts of stuff. Like crazy hours. He loves it. He loves the overtime.
Mm-hmm.
The second part of the year, he's traveling. He runs his own business.
Yeah.
Right. He is doing whatever he wants to do. He's not stressed out. He's operating in his assignment, right? What, you know, his passion projects, what he loves to do, right? He ain't stressed out. He ain't living hand to mouth. He was able to use that trades as a vehicle to fund his dreams. And that's what he does. I tell him he's absolute. I'm like, look, I love it. I lived through him. You know,
I have a lot of friends like that do the same thing, where they'll stock their money up, you know, work on it overtime, 7, 12, 6, whatever the case may be, for 6 months out the year. And then the other 6 years, they fund their vacation time. And
where else you gonna do that though? That's my point.
And then when you decide to go back to work, you got a job to go back to. You just got to go back to the books in any state you choose to.
Nowhere in the world no other way you could do that. But I tell you what, and we spoke about it last time. My wife and I actually run a commercial pressure washing and window cleaning business, right? Just from the contacts leveraged through commercial construction, right? There's so much power in these trades. And I think there's a lot of people who just don't know that information and that knowledge and awareness is not in their wheelhouse.
Yeah. Also, Matt, I want to touch on one of the things you just mentioned about the connections that you made right? Through the which helps fund your business. One of the other things that I think is a major benefit of being in the trades is that you begin to have relationships with other tradesmen, right? In different trades. And so a lot of us have our own things going on the side. And so you even use the bartering system, be like, hey, I need these lights hang. You know what I'm saying? Keisha, could you come hang these lights for me? Then Keisha be like, hey, I got this. But even if Keisha don't want to do it, she can lead me to somebody who will.
Keisha,
I'm
like,
John. John, go ahead and lights first.
Right. But you make those different connections to different people in different trades where you can call on each other, because after you build your friendships, you can call on each other for things that you need done. If you need some pipes ran, or you need some plumbing done or something like that, you can just call one of your fellow tradesmen and say, hey, I need some help with this, come help me out. And we always have something going on. I don't know any tradesperson that don't have nothing going on. Like we either know somebody that got something going on, or we got something going on where we're able to help each other. And so those connections and those friendships that you build, relationships that you build with the other tradesmen of the different trades also is a major asset in your life as well as your career.
Well, that's just like how we all connected. We all connected through Next Level Speakers Academy because we're all speakers. So just the way that, either following each other online, showing up to a mastermind, or just connecting, being on a call. And then we saw, okay, this person is in skilled trades like me. So we find each other and we know where our tribe is. So, and like I said, the one main goal that we have is we want to make sure that we let the next generation know about the skilled trades in a different fashion in which we found out. So it's very important for all of us to make sure that we tell these juniors and seniors in high school, and even those younger kids, on how to get into the skilled trades and why it's very beneficial to them on the other side of it. Because guess what? You don't have to have a degree. There's no debt, and it's limitless. You can take it to wherever you want to take it to.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
All right. So I know we tapped on this slightly, but let's talk about how AI is shifting the game for the industries that we're in, because AI is huge. And a lot of people were thinking about what's going to take your job. No, I'm really not afraid of AI taking my job. Actually, it's a tool that I use just like I use a pair of climbs, use a screwdriver, use channel locks, whatever the case may be. It's just something else that I can use to be more efficient and help me get my job done faster.
Absolutely. What I would say, as far as AI is concerned, in my mind, it's an expertise multiplier, right? So I'm in the construction safety space, right? So there's a lot of regulations. There's a lot, right? Leveraging, if you can learn how to use AI, it's a game changer. You can become so much more efficient in your business. But you got to crawl before you walk, right? There's an education path. And I encourage any people who are listening. I actually have a couple of tools that I'm going to throw in the chat, but they do have learning paths where you can become certified in AI or just learn the different GPTs. And I'm telling you, it's a game changer. Everything from writing emails to putting together cost estimates and proposals. Total game changer.
Yeah. LaShawn, what were you going to say?
I was going to say I absolutely love the integration of AI into the construction field. So I would, even technology in general, like when I went through school, we were all on the iPad. So I know y'all jealous. I saw Keisha scoring right there. We did it all on the iPad. There wasn't no pen and paper. It was just all on the iPad. So that was just very helpful. And then as I get into the trades, there was this one day, I was working on the job site. We were piping this room, and they had this VR thing. And this VR thing, it shows you where the pipe is all supposed. It's an empty room. It shows you where every single pipe is supposed to be. It's like a virtual headset, right? So it's an addition. So there's not going to be a $1 million robot or AI device that comes in and tightens those couplings, gets into that attic. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen, at least anytime soon. Not in our lifetime, right? So I just think that it is a welcome addition to the trade. I don't fear it at all. I welcome it. Please make my job easier. because it's a fine line between making your job easier and taking your job.
There you go.
It isn't taking our jobs. It's only making our jobs easier.
Absolutely.
So I can't speak to those those suits and when you got to type into it when AI can it used to be, I remember people used to be happy when they can type a certain amount of words per minute. Right now it's like, oh, AI can instantaneously do that, right? So that's just my mindset regarding it. So I just believe that it's a very welcome addition.
And Matt, just like you said, you can use it for proposals, you can use it for cost estimates, you can use it for estimating, so you can use it to help to generate your business. So if you take the skill that you already have, what it's supposed to look like, but you may be not too savvy on writing up a proposal. Well, AI can help you do that. So it'll help you to propel your business to the next level.
It's a multiplier.
It's a multiplier. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. And I think AI, just like any other mechanics or any other machines, is definitely can help you. But like LaShawn said, there's a difference between helping your job and taking your job. They have, if you can look it up on YouTube and stuff, they have created machines that can lay brick as a fundamental, but it can't make it do everything that it needs to be done to work functionally. It can lay brick in a straight line, but what about when you got to go to the next story? How you gonna lift this machine to the next story? And then when you get to a corner, it can't build corners. So even the machines that they built that can actually lay a brick, it still needed a bricklayer to work with the machine to make it work. So I think that's the thing of it will never replace our jobs. It will add to it, but which definitely help us out on the job site and things of that nature. But it all come back to the trades with these. As long as you got these, that human element would never be displaced in the building trades.
Hey, Ernest, it probably needed a bricklayer to train it.
Right.
That just created another job.
Exactly. And then one thing that I'm going to have, and I don't know about the rest of the skill trades, but I know there's one thing that you definitely need to know in order for the electrical field. You have to understand math. You have to know a little bit about math. One of my topics I really don't care too much for is geometry, but you definitely need to know geometry, especially when it comes to bending pipe. Yeah. You have to understand it. You don't have to be a master at it, but you have to understand a little bit of it. So, for anyone out there that's interested in going into the skill trades, make sure you pay attention, because I believe for all of them, you have to at least have a high school diploma or a GED. So you have to at least finish the competency portion of the first 12 years of the educational system in order to get into any skill trade.
Yeah, and I will say this, though, just technology in general is helping the trade. So I was piping, and I had got to this run that was like really difficult. I opened up the Quick Bend app on my phone so fast. It's a bend that helps you bend pipe.
Wow.
It literally helps you bend pipe. It helps you bend pipe. It will tell you exactly where it needs to go. Now, there's no robot bending that pipe. I'm the human element, right? But again, technology can only assist our field. Technology can only assist our trade. Technology is not getting in between those two water pipes to try to wrench in. It's just not. It's not happening. Not in our lifetime. So please, whoever hears this, please heed my words. Please heed all of our words and join the trades. There is absolutely no fear of your job being taken. There's absolutely no fear of, the only way you'll get laid off is if we're out of work. And then again, you can always come back to these two hands. You will never have to submit a resume a day in your life. Literally, at 24 years old, I'll be able to travel the world. I can go anywhere in the world. I can go to California, have a job. New York, have a job. Kentucky, have a job. Indiana, have a job. Anywhere in the world. Canada, have a job. Puerto Rico, have a job. Can't beat it. So that's just my coup de grace. So
trying to see if I could find information on the apprenticeship programs. I know if they go to AFL-CIO, it'll tell them where they all are across the country. So I'm going to, let me see, put this in the chat. People too, they can see it. Let's see here. All right, and this is, so if you go to aflcio.org, it will take you to show you where all of the apprenticeship programs are across the country. for whatever respective skill trade that you are looking for. And like I said, I went through the unions. The reason why I'm passionate about pushing people towards the unions because as a Black female, they make sure that I get my money. Whereas I'm in other industries, that's not always guaranteed. Maybe somebody doing more work than me. I'm sorry, less work than me, where I'm doing the brunt of the work, and then I'll be making less. So I know it's one thing that I never had to worry about working in the unions, that they made sure that I got paid just the same as the next journeyman standing next to me or the same apprentice standing next to me, no matter what they're, male, female, whatever. So that's why I try to push towards the trades, but that's my spiel.
Yeah, and the craziest thing is, it's like, it's so powerful. I can speak all day. I can speak about it till I'm blue in the face. It's so powerful because literally 18 years old. So I graduated high school May 2023. I was on a job site September. September, I was on a $2.5 million solo job. That was my first job. When I got my first check, it was for 600 something bucks. But mind you, we get paid every week as tradesmen. We have every week, like clockwork, right? So I looked at my check. I say, did y'all like give me too much money, y'all? Yeah. Ever since then, it's only been going up. You get an automatic raise every 6 months, and every second year you get two raises. You get our union, because our pay, we match inflation as best as we can. We match inflation. What other job do you have? You ain't got to beg and say, hey boss, this is my performance review. I've done this and that. I would love a raise. No, you get a raise every single year. Every year, your contract has a designated raise. We're under collective bargaining agreements, and the union, you're under a collective bargaining agreement. You have a raise every single year. It goes up. So, can't beat it. Absolutely not.
Yeah. And I had a similar account when I got on my first job. My first job was a 12-hour shift. We're working in the mills, which is a different pay scale than the actual bricklayers that work outside. So it was a 12-hour shift, and I was brand new apprentice, and they paid me journeyman scale for that job. And so, like you said, I'm looking at that like, wait a minute now, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't ask no questions. I just put that in my pocket. So,
Hey,
similar.
Hey, that's funny because I remember the first time I was actually when I was actually an apprentice. I remember we got paid every Tuesday, and I had been out there a good 3 months, 3-4 months, but I was working really hard, and I was trying to make an impression, getting there early, that type of thing. And one day because we were working 7/12s, and so we were making a lot of money at that time because in Local 1, in Chicago, anything after 7 o'clock is or before 7 a.m. is double time, and anything after 3 p.m. is double time. Okay, and I got my check on a Tuesday. I'll never forget. That thing was like north of $2,000. I almost passed out. I had never seen that kind of money in my life, right? For 1 week of work. Mm-hmm. And I remember going back to the boss because I'm like, all right, man, look, this kind of serious. I'm used to getting this. Now I got that. And he just said, you getting journeyman scale, don't mess it up. I got my journeyman scale 2.5 years early. And I never messed it up. But you can mess it up. Because you can lose it, just like you got.
Well, I'm manifesting my 57 an hour at 20 years old.
I want to speak it over your life, man.
Please speak it over my life, my buddy. I need that 57.75, my boy.
Yeah, but that's awesome. That we all have similar stories about when we saw financially how the trades could change your life. From a financial standpoint, right? Being able to provide and support. And I think there's a lot of people in the world that don't understand or haven't been exposed to, right? The power it can have in your life. So that's awesome. I forgot about that.
I'm like, man, y'all could work an overnight shift at Amazon. Y'all could work an overnight shift at Walmart, Walgreens. an hour. You can go busting tables making $2 and $7 an hour with tips. Like, but you can't come and have a skill that you can take with you anywhere in the world. Come on, man, please. Man.
And the crazy part is some people, they just don't know how to get started. They don't know that these things even exist. Like I said, when I was, I said this, I graduated from high school when I was in the 11th grade. I walked with my senior class because I didn't really know what else to do. I wish I would have had someone even tell me about the apprenticeship program. Of course, I was 16. I couldn't have gotten in at 16, but I could have done something different. So I chose to walk with my class because I didn't know what else I could have done at 16 years old. And I had completed all of my credits for high school. So you take somebody like that, they need somebody to guide them on a path to where it could have been. I don't know what I could have done at that age, but just imagine if I would have started in something, even if it were an internship, to where I could have just started getting that on the job training. So by the time I finished, I would have started my electrical career. And then, at 18, by the time I was 20 or 23, I could have been done and been a journeyman. So, the possibilities are endless once again. So once again, it's up to us to make sure that we bring this to the world and we bring this to kids to let them know skilled trades is a viable option. There are over 500,000 open jobs out there right now, and there's money out there waiting to be made. They just need somebody to come get it.
Yeah, and Keisha, I graduated in the 11th grade as well, and which is going back to what we were talking about, just the exposure and getting this information out there. Because just like you, I didn't know about the apprenticeships either. And so, like I said, I ended up going to college, taking construction classes when I could have just went straight on the job. And another thing, I had a conversation with some young men not too long ago, and I was telling them about, you guys should, look into the building trades, like just choose one that kind of resonates with you. And they were kind of like, well, I don't really think I want to work in the building trades. So I said, oh, okay. I said, well, what are you doing? And they was working at a fast food restaurant. I said, is that what you want to do? Like, no, I don't want to be here, but it's a job. I said, so if you're going to work a job that you don't want to work at, why not work at one that you could build a career and make good money? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If you're just going to work somewhere you don't want to work. So even that, just having that mindset of, I don't think I want to, work in the building trades. Well, it's an option from where you're currently at. Which you don't want to work at either.
Use it as a vehicle. Use it as a vehicle. And then my thing with that is, it's like time is gonna go by regardless. Time is gonna go by regardless. So that's my whole thing.
Excellent.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is good.
So we need. It really is. And I'm looking at the time. We've already been on here for like an hour. I know we could talk about skilled trades all day, but we are going to wrap this one up and come back again. So, we're doing this the last Saturday of every month. So next month it will be September 27th. That's my mom's birthday. So that's going to be a special one. So you guys can look for us to come back and have another discussion about skilled trades on September 20th at 12 noon Central Time. But until then, I'll let you guys leave us with some final words. We'll go ahead and start with Ernest. We'll go around the other direction this time. Ernest.
Yeah. Well, I am Ernest James, bricklayer, also speaker, as all of us are. So you can find me at ernestjamesspeakslife.com to have me come out and talk to your school about the students and tell them about the building trades, which we all do. To have either, have us come out and talk to you guys about the building trades. And I just want to leave one thing with you guys that we've talked about several times. We brought it up in the midst of this conversation is the knowledge that you learn to use your hands and the knowledge that you learn in your head, no one can ever take it away from you. And when you learn the knowledge of a building trade, of any of the building trades, you're able to take that wherever you go in the world and be able to have impact and income. So that's my spiel.
All right, Mr. Matt.
That's awesome. Hey, on the closeout, love today's discussions here. Right, for the folks that are listening, that are interested in the skilled trades. Right, here's the deal. It's a vehicle to the life that you want to have. It's not a fallback. It's not a second thing. Right, if A doesn't work out, then I'll go to the trades. The trades are designing lives as well as changing lives, right? And I'll drop my info in the chat if you ever, want to have a sidebar conversation or or want to talk about the path through the skilled trades. But excellent conversation, and I hope the folks that are listening understand the power and magnitude of what we're talking about on this live. So, I'll pass
And
it
where
over.
can people find you? But where can people find you on social media?
I ain't hard to find. I'll drop it in the chat.
All right.
Instagram, and hey, you can call my direct number. I ain't hard to find.
Oh Lord, LaShawn.
Hey, y'all, Sean the Undeniable here. So, as Ernest said, I am also a motivational speaker. So, I speak in schools. I got a couple schools that I'm speaking in right now just to motivate, just to provide an adequate level of exposure. I have a 12-program curriculum called the Undeniable System where I talk about trading career exposure, wealth wisdom, powerful presence, and a number of other things like discipline and motivation, right? So, if you want me in your school, you can find me at LaShawnSanders.com. You can find me on Instagram at Sean the Undeniable, LinkedIn, and Facebook as LaShawn Sanders. I can't wait to hear from you all soon. Even if you got any questions, even if I just spark something in you, if I just sparked a need to know more, if I just sparked that you feel like you need to know, have an adequate level of exposure, come on, hit me, hit my DMs. I am active and I'm here and I ain't going nowhere. So thank you.
All right. Well, thank you guys all. I appreciate you guys for showing up today. You know, this is Crafting Careers That Build. We are in the Skilled Trades Legacy Lab. And today we just talked about how to build a successful career in the skilled trades. And with Crafting Careers That Build, we're trying to build each skill one skill at a time. So if you guys are interested in bringing all of us in, we are all available to come and speak to you as a team because we came together, we leave together. So if you guys want 4 tradesmen to come out and speak to your school, to speak to your organization about how to get into the skilled trades, then you can find us, or you can find me on Instagram at Keisha the Electrician, or you can go to craftingcareersthatbuild.com and fill out the booking form. And we can talk about how to get all of us into your organization, and we can talk to your students or your team about how to get into the skilled trades. Well, I want to say once again, thank you all so much for joining me today. This has been a great, wonderful discussion. And I look forward to seeing you guys again next month as we talk about skilled trades once again. So peace, everybody. We'll see y'all next time. We out.